Hello, my name is Ijao Martins, licensed marriage and family therapist in the state of California. I love working with couples. People always ask me why you are so passionate about working with couples. That's because I can see two people connecting in front of me and understand each other, getting in touch with reality, and really see and hear each other, um, understand each other's perspective. It's very satisfying for me. I love working with systems. So today, I want to talk about the 4 forms of counseling that I provide for couples from a system-centered perspective. So I will be talking about the roles of the therapist, the goals of each form of counseling, and the context. So we'll start with the context. In what situation people come to premarital counseling? It sounds pretty straightforward, premarital counseling. So there's a group of people that could be thinking about marriage. And it also applies to couples who don't necessarily want to go through the legal process of getting married. They just want to move in with each other, having children together, or just being a committed long-term relationship without living together. And also, I have couples come to me after they've been married, but they've never talked about some issues that should be covered by premarital counseling. So in essence, they come to me for premarital counseling. So the therapist, when doing premarital counseling, are helping the couples to achieve what goals? One is to identify what could be the potential conflicts between the couples. Two is to address those as much as possible before they go to crisis. So some of the topics that can be covered in premarital counseling is finances, how each person contribute to the household, and how do they do financial planning together. They can also talk about parenting, if they want to raise offspring together, each of their parenting philosophies, and how to take care of the baby when the baby arrives. And the schools, certain religious or spiritual practice they feel very strongly about. They can talk about general conflict resolution methods and to get some trainings in that. So the therapist in premarital counseling can be an educator, a trainer, a facilitator, sometimes a mediator. So in this form of therapy or counseling, the goal is to develop this system, moving from you and me to we, to really integrate those two systems into one system. So once people are married or in a long-term committed relationship, sometimes they never get a chance to have premarital counseling, and they are in crisis. That is the context when people come to me for marital counseling or couples therapy. So a lot of times people come to me for couples therapy, they're in great pain and suffering. They feel disconnected. They say, well, it doesn't matter how many times I tell my partner, they just seem like they don't get it. They don't hear me, and I feel so alone, so helpless. I feel disconnected. I don't know what to do anymore, right? All of those are attachment protests. So the goals in marital counseling is to repair those attachment bonds. Rupture, repair, rupture, repair. So through this process, the couples get to know each other in a deeper level and connect in a deeper level. So their relationship, the system transforms into a different level. The goal, the roles in this, the therapist role, is to help them to see and get in touch with their deep feelings when they're in conflicts, and to see each other's deep emotional needs for each other and to facilitate them to meet each other's needs. So sometimes relationship doesn't work, unfortunately. Some couples really suffer, and then one of the two people start to have doubts if they're compatible. They start to think about divorce or separation, and then sometimes they refuse to go to couple therapy any longer because they feel it's not very helpful, or they already have the desire to leave to be on their own. And the other partner can be still very much in hoping to save this relationship. So two of them have this conflict if they should be in this relationship and repair any longer. And that is when discernment counseling is very helpful. So discernment counseling is actually developed by Bill Doherty, and so he trains therapists to do discernment counseling. The goal is to support this couple to figure out if they should be together or not. It's a very short-term focused, solution-focused, intense therapy. So the therapist can hold a lot of anxiety and fear and ambivalence for the couple and support the leaning in partner, which is the one that wants to stay in the relationship, and the leaning out partner, which is the one want to leave, to figure out what's their truth. And sometimes they may switch their roles in the process of therapy, and the leaning in partner may want to stay, and the leaning out partner may want to stay, and the leaning in partner may have doubt if they're compatible, where this relationship is working or not. So this is the process to clarify reality and get in touch with their goal for the next stage of their work. Either they separate or divorce, or they go back to marital counseling to repair their attachment bonds. So if the couple decide they're going to divorce or separate and there are children involved, generally they will come to me for co-parenting counseling. So co-parenting counseling is very different from any other of the above 3 forms of therapy. In essence, co-parenting counseling is mediation. So the difference between mediation and therapy is mediation is very focused on practical, dogmatical issues. It's like a problem-solving approach, and each person may have their own positions as for what they want. And then the job of the mediator is to dig underneath the values for each person's perspective or position, and to help them to negotiate, to find a middle ground. Well, in therapy, the goal is to really dig deep in. The therapist help them to see what's the deep feelings, emotional needs, and help each other to meet the needs. So you see the difference? Is to build a bond, to repair the bond, to be closer and connecting. While in co-parenting counseling, the parties already decided they're going to separate. They're going to have 2 systems now. So they're in transition. The co-parenting counselor's job is to help them through this transitional period to come up with a co-parenting plan with a timeshare, how the children are going to spend time with each parent while they're in 2 different households now. What are the issues about school they need to pay attention to? If they have different parenting style or philosophy, how to negotiate and how to compromise and find the most easier transitional time for the children. And if they have high conflicts, help them to regulate, help them to build some communication skills to solve their differences, so their conflict doesn't impact the children negatively during this process. So here are the 4 forms of counseling format I offer to my clients. So in the next episode, I will have an interview with a male therapist from the UK, Francesco Conti. We'll talk about each of our perspective from a female and male therapist perspective about working with couples. Stay tuned. Bye now.